Hello and good evening. Welcome to tonight's edition of Majority Caucus. This is live on your multi-TV. We have had many issues that have gone by during the days, in the past days if you like, but key amongst them I'm sure will be the last State of the Nations address as given by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in Parliament on Friday, and then the inaugural speech that took place yesterday at the Black Star Square that had over 15 heads of states witnessing that inauguration, amongst thousands, millions of Ghanaians who were also there to see it live. Tonight, we would attempt to make some analysis, make some sense out of the two speeches given by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, both at Parliament and that at the Black Star Square, even though that was also before Parliament, in essence. But to help me deal with these issues, I have a very important guest in the house. But before I introduce him, I reserve the right to make this statement very quickly and forcefully. I think that is very embarrassing for the president, or if you like, the convener of the Progressive Youth, or whatever their name is, to attempt to barricade the house of former President Kufuor and prevent him from attending the inaugural ceremony. I think it's an unfortunate scene that they caused. It is very shameful. In a democratic society, civilized citizens do not behave in the manner that they did. Even more worrying is the attempt to insult the president as colluding with the EC and stealing day in, day out to hear this statement, the president stole, the president stole. I think it's very shameful. It is about time that people like Nyama, if that is his name, would want to behave themselves properly. It is not fair to be putting accusing fingers at the president when the matter is before court, yet to be determined, only for some disgruntled youth to go on rampage, calling the president names and the EC. It is most shameful. The MPP should call their surrogates to order. That's just for it, as by way of introduction of tonight's discussion. I have been joined in the studio by a very serious lawyer who also happened to have been the Speaker of University of Ghana Parliament in 2006. I am talking about Alpha Nasir Mohammed. He will be helping me tonight to dissect this topic, and I believe you are also going to enjoy it out there wherever you may be watching us. Good evening, gentlemen, for your time, Alpha.
Good evening. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to host you here too. Alpha, I'm sure you might have heard about the appointment made not too long ago by the president. He made about 4 appointments. My emphasis really would want to be on the role to be played by Dr. Raymond Atuguba. He is to occupy the position of an executive secretary. What do you make of this appointment?
For me, I think that is a very strategic appointment. We all know who Dr. Raymond Atuguba is. This is a man who has been an astute lawyer in this country, a man who virtually he was the executive secretary of the Constitution Review Commission and has done a wonderful job in this country. He has also won some landmark cases in this country and has been well respected across the country. Come to think of it also, Dr. Atuguba has not been in the front line of our politics in this country. And when the president says that he was going to make his government an all-inclusive one, to think of somebody who is not a frontliner in the National Democratic Congress coming in as the executive secretary, I think this is a very strategic appointment. And knowing the capabilities and the fact that Dr. Raymond Atuguba, in whichever position he has occupied before, has been very efficient, I am confident that he is not going to disappoint His Excellency the President and his team of cabinet ministers, neither will he disappoint the people of this country. For that, I'm confident.
In your opinion, do you think it's a kind of a thank you package for heading the Constitutional Review Committee because of his competence? I
wouldn't say it's any kind of a thank you. When he was actually appointed as the Executive Secretary of the Constitutional Review Commission, he was appointed based on his competence, not based on any personal relationship with His Excellency the President then. Okay. That is His Excellency Professor Evans Atta Mills, the late Professor Evans Atta Mills. Yeah. That wasn't, a thank you to Dr. Raymond Atuguba for doing what at that time. They just look at his competence, the fact that the man has been an astute lawyer in this country, and the Constitution is a legal document, a living document that is subject to, growth. And so therefore, if you want to appoint a commission to look into and review the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, then you need the Executive Secretary to be somebody who is a lawyer and a very good one as such. Besides, don't also forget that his position was not just Executive Secretary. He also led a team of lawyers who represented the Constitution Review Commission just in case anything came up. So he was actually the leader of the legal team of the Constitution Review Commission of this country. I believe that he was appointed on merit. He has demonstrated his witness, and I just want Ghanaians to know that this is a person who will not disappoint His Excellency the President. He will not disappoint the people of this country. Yeah, that I'm certain about.
Indeed, that is a very insightful position that you have expressed there. But Alpha, you were at the Parliament House during the sessional address, and I'm sure you also watched on TV the inaugural ceremony at the Black Star Square. In all this, the President made some statements before the good people of Ghana. What was your impression? Did the speeches capture the essential ingredient or the element that you were expecting?
I think so, especially let me begin with a sessional address, for instance. I was in Parliament, and I was so grateful I was actually over there. It was very inspiring to see the President appear before the Parliament of Ghana, very young, very energetic, and ably demonstrated that he is actually worthy of being elected as the President of this country. Come to think of it, for the first time in the history of this country, this was a president who gives inspiration to the youth of this country and those who will come after him as leader of this country. He was able, for the first time, a teleprompter was used. He was able to deliver very well. Fantastic, I should say. In fact, at a point, for those who were watching using their televisions, were not actually in the forecourt of Parliament. People thought he was actually delivering everything extempo. And I think this is a very novel thing that has been introduced into our system, and we should not go back after this.
First in the history of Ghana.
First in the history. I say so because, come to think of it, when you go to the United States of America, you go to, let's say, the UK and most of the other Western countries, leaders come out and they speak boldly, not necessarily referring to documents. Not to say that they don't refer to documents. They must actually have done some homework with their documents, or some kind of teleprompters have been used somewhere that we don't actually see. But when they do that, they give inspiration to their people. These are people who know the issues, they know the facts. So as a leader, you should be able to give me inspiration as a youth who is hoping that one day I should be able to lead my own country. So definitely I was very much inspired, and at a point, seriously, because I wasn't watching from the public gallery of Parliament. I didn't have that privilege, so I was watching my television, and when I saw the President, those surrounding me, I told them, come on, my President is giving his speech extempo, and I was so happy. When later we were told that he was using teleprompters, but you can realize, anybody watching him, could realize that the man was actually able, very conversant with the figures, very conversant with what is happening in this country, and as communication will have it, he used all the verbal communications that you can think of. He laughed to the minority when he has to, He turned to the majority when he has to, and he did all he could to make this particular occasion a very lively one and to give us hope. Even those who are foreigners who were, sitting at the public gallery, they were very happy. When they came out, I happened to witness some of them being witnessed. They expressed the kind of confidence that they think the president, has exhibited.
Lawyer, before we delve into the core element of the speech, the content, what would you say about the conduct of the minority? This time they were a bit quiet, more composed.
Let us not forget, as a nation, that John Mahama has been one of them for a very long time.
Indeed.
And let us not forget that we still have a good number of his own colleagues who were with him in Parliament. These are people who respect this man very well, but for the stand of their own party, I am very certain they will almost, hail him as one of the best, leaders we hope to have in this country. So this is a man who has, served as a member of Parliament with them. He has demonstrated as a member of Parliament that he is capable. He has occupied several positions in this country. And as a vice president to His Excellency, the late President, Atta Mills, he has equally demonstrated that he was capable. And when the unfortunate incident of His Excellency passing away and leaving this nation in sorrow came, he stood up to the occasion, even in difficult times, to show that he is capable, even if it comes to him unannounced.
Indeed.
That is a man, I should say, even the minority are so impressed with, and they could not show any adverse, conduct.
What was striking was that this is the minority that has promised, actually threatened, to boycott his swearing-in ceremony. Yet the president was, kind enough to mention some of them, acknowledge them, including the leader who is leading, who is spearheading that crusade to boycott the swearing-in of the president. Yet the president was applauding him for that.
For me, I think that is the beginning of the nation-healing process after the acrimony that accompanied the electoral process. Let us not forget that all that we have gone through in the last, half of 2012 was not an easy thing. There were women who virtually were crying, thinking that something would happen at the end of the day. People were calling on us for peace, peace, peace. A whole lot of stakeholders, including the National Peace Council and NGOs, all came out calling on us to come together as one nation, think of Ghana first, and then your own interest second. So when we are done with the election, it is time for us to come together again. And the only person who can engineer that process is the #1 citizen of this country. As President of the Republic, he gives to you your due. If you are somebody who has actually done well, he should be able to tell you that, Ayuko, I think that is what the president has done. He acknowledges the important roles that the minority has played, especially the leader of the minority and some of the minority members of Parliament who have been with Parliament all this while. Some of them are no more. But I'm talking about those who have been there. He has acknowledged all of them and acknowledged even those who served and passed. So I think that the president is a nation builder. He understands the art of leadership, and that was exactly what he was doing.
How would you describe the delivery that the president made at Parliament on Friday, talking about the state of the nation? How would you describe? Was it reconciliatory? Was it promising? Was it, what was it really?
Like I said, he understands the art of nation building. And you rightly use the word reconciliatory.
Okay.
The president, for example, made a statement like, we are elected by the people of this country. I'm not actually quoting. Let people know that I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the document in front of me. But if I recall, he made a statement like all electoral, government officers, people who have been elected into government offices, were elected to partner each other and not to exhibit their partisan, exigencies when they meet each other. So for the president, he thinks that this is a time for us to partner with the minority with the NPP, with PNC, with CPP, so that we can move the agenda of this nation forward. Okay. The Better Ghana agenda, as the NDC understands it to be, this is the second, part 2 of the Better Ghana agenda. Okay. So the speech that the president was giving, the State of the Nation speech, was to let the people of Ghana know what is it that he and His Excellency, the the late president of this country, has done for this country for the past 4 years.
Indeed.
And to renew their mandate, hoping that the people of this country will support.
Okay, thank you very much on that note. Stay with me. I will be right back after this short break. Hello and welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us, this is Majority Caucus live on your multi-TV. I did promise you earlier that we'll be joined in by another guest. We have been joined in now by a caretaker, if I'm allowed to. a caretaker, Deputy National Coordinator of the National Youth Authority. And in case you are confused, the president just asked all ministers, deputy ministers, DC, everybody go back to your post. But now you are a caretaker. You are no longer the substantive. So we have Prince Derrick Ejay, who used to be the Deputy National Coordinator for National Youth Authority, now designated as caretaker deputy. So, and also I failed to add in my earlier introduction of lawyer Alpha Nasser, apart from being the former speaker of University of Ghana Parliament House 2005-2006, of which I was the proud majority chief whip, by the way. He also was the first speaker of the first National Youth Parliament held at the National Parliament House. So Alpha indeed has the speakership in his blood, if I'm allowed to say that. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Prince Derrick, there was a slight change in terms of the leadership of the House. The Deputy Speaker went at the end of the day to the MPP. I'm surprised. Is it because the president, I mean, some rumor has it that the president, after sounding that reconciliatory, they thought that the leadership of the majority would consider, and that is indeed what happened. I don't know if there's any link with the president's submission and the change in the subsequent decision.
Well, thank you, and good evening to all your viewers. I think that it's appropriate to indicate and put on the record that the National Youth Parliament, of which the two of you were
the convener.
I was the convener.
I apologize.
Thank you. And also to add that under the National Youth Authority, Senator Time Maklo's tenure and the leadership of the Minister, Honorable Humado, we have institutionalized the National Youth Parliament in partnership with the Parliament of Ghana. Okay. So that is something moving forward that should make parliamentary democracy a thing that is youth-driven as well, and the views of young people through the National Youth Authority and the ministry will be put at the doorstep of Parliament. And Parliament has also graciously indicated that those views will be considered, and that even the youth parliamentarians will be allowed to sit in committee meetings, except that they don't have a vote. So we've made a lot of progress since then. I think that the President, in addressing Parliament, had previously addressed the nation. And if you recall, following the end of the year, in fact, there were some rumors, very wicked rumors by the MPP, that the President has passed on and was in South Africa for kidney transplant, head transplant.
Serious propaganda.
And so it was refreshing to see the President. And I think that in that particular delivery, the address to the nation set a tone for even what he did in Parliament. And I think that the Parliament delivery was very spot on. He attempted to set a tone again for his inaugural speech. And so if you take the inaugural speech in isolation, it's actually a part 3 of 3. He started with the addressing the nation, then he did the address in Parliament, and then he addressed the international community together with Ghanaians. And I think that the president in each of these statements or speeches has been very consistent in trying to unify the country. He used the word polarization as something that he sought to do away with, and also partnership. Okay, he wanted us to put aside partisanship, which is part of the polarization that we are currently having thanks to the MPP, and now to get partnership. And so dovetailing that into the shall I say election of Joe Gatti, Honorable Joe Gatti, one would assume that it was not just a stretch by the NDC, but by the tone that had been set by the leader of the party, who is the president. Yeah. I do recall that we were in some meetings and a lot of people were not too happy when we heard the rumors gaining currency. But again, I think that it's maturity and leadership that allows for that kind of, bending over backwards to reach out and to ensure that your words become practicalized. The partnership, even with those people who have drawn daggers ready to kill you, shows that you've gone very far ahead of yourself. And the interesting thing that has also happened today is that whilst we were all thinking that since the Constitution allowed for someone from a different party to be made the second deputy speaker, after having had Honorable Do Ajaho as speaker, and also Batino Drew, even the Batino Drew election, one would have expected NPP in their natural elements to come forcefully against it because of the kind of statements that they had made. But they were silent. Indeed. You know why?
In fact, they seconded the nomination.
Exactly. Do you know why? They were dying to have one of the positions. That is the second deputy speaker. So it was something that you can see obviously that NPP was also bending over backwards to ensure that they got their pound that they were expecting to have, only to jettison the whole idea. They did not come with good faith. They just wanted to have that which had been promised, or perhaps which, if the magnanimity of the president and the party was to unfold, they would get. Now, this is a group that had shown also something that is very interesting. If you realize, apart from not fighting the Batino Drew issue, they had gone ahead to, as it were, put the credentials of Joe Gatti and to link it with the leadership of the NDC, his role in Dr. Kumbo's, exactly. And I think that for the president, it rather showed that indeed we can weave this country together if we all mean well. So the NDC meaning well, Kumbo automatically even went ahead and added that kind of humor that the president had exhibited before the House. So NDC all along has been living the president's, dream. But the MPP will turn it always into a nightmare. And so we pray. And I think that it takes two to tango. Today, the appointments have been made. We are hearing the news that these people are mostly PNC. That's what we are hearing. PNC background. Because
I'm sure it's without a doubt. Yeah.
Dr. Atuguba is actually Bernard Mumla's lawyer in the
case against CI 74.
Exactly, 74. Now, then other names, Suligariba and others have been mentioned. I am waiting to see what the MPP will say. So far, we have not heard the MPP yet. But if you recall, it was a PNC MP who was slated for the second deputy speaker. So if they have been given that, and yet they would want to kick against these appointments, we wait to see.
But I needed, I'll come back to Alpha. The idea, there was an initial crusade led by Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa and some members of parliament from the majority side that the MPP must not be made to benefit from their own accusation. How sound is that argument? I'm sure you heard it.
Let us take this matter critically. First of all, we have to understand that when it comes to parliament, the law, as it provides for the deputy speakers of parliament, is clear that the deputy speakers of parliament should come from different political parties. So if, let's say, the first deputy speaker comes from party A, the second deputy speaker should not come from the same party. The law does not say that the largest minority party in parliament must necessarily have a share in the deputy speaker's position. So it is for the parliament to decide who becomes their speaker in the first place. But then the president has the right to present a candidate for the House to consider. It is possible for the House to have also come up with another candidate. And that has actually happened in the history of this country.
Yeah. 2005.
Where a candidate was presented by the majority, and the minority also presented a candidate. And they voted.
Let me put that in proper perspective.
Yeah.
In basic terms, the NDC supported an MPP candidate.
Exactly.
And the MPP was angry because the NDC was supporting one of their own.
One of their own. Exactly so.
That's
exactly
sad.
so. So you can understand that. So all that I'm trying to establish here is that it is for Parliament to decide. And if Parliament decides that this is our first Deputy Speaker and that is our second Deputy Speaker, so be it. In actual fact, Parliament, could have decided to leave out Joe Gatti and to have endorsed, Honorable Azon's candidature, and there will be no legal qualms on this matter.
Okay.
Nobody could have taken NDC on, except to say that in a democratic dispensation, it is always good for the majority to stretch out to the minority, especially the largest minority party. The reason is that you need to balance, the kind of acrimony, consensus building that normally goes on within the House. Okay. If the minority is completely left out, there may be that kind of acrimony. And maybe even though our democracy will not hold to a ground, outside there, in the outside world, some people may see it not to be the best, because it appears to me that the minority has not matured, to the extent of accepting that, look, we cannot get certain things just all by ourselves. We need to make concessions. We need to agree with the majority on certain issues. If we have to disagree, we disagree constructively. You cannot, for example, take a particular position, you approbate, and then later you try to, reprobate. That kind of thing. If you actually want us to have some kind of peace and development within the House of Parliament, you should be ready to make concessions with the majority. If the majority says this is what we want, you should be able to accept that and also push your own agenda forward and see whether the minority will accept it or not. But if you say we won't accept what you want, and then on the other hand, you want to push your own agenda forward and expect that the majority should accept it, that is going to be a big problem. And definitely, it runs in everybody's blood. If I present my presidential candidate forward, he wins elections legitimately, the legitimate agency of government that is supposed to declare results actually declares my candidate as the winner of elections. And then you go out there, you claim you have initiated your legal proceedings, and yet you are everywhere ranting and chanting, to the people of this country, saying that the man is illegitimately elected. However, you cannot actually say he was illegitimately elected unless the Supreme Court so decides. So at all material moment as it stands now, John Mahama is the legitimate president, elect and sworn in as of now, by the people of this country. Okay. So if you are going about ranting that he is not the legitimate president, it is going to be very difficult for the people who are pushing his agenda in Parliament to now look at you as somebody who is a partner. But all in all, the president has extended that hand of partnership when he appeared before Parliament. And the leadership of Parliament accepted it in good faith and has decided to give the second deputy speaker's role to the MPP.
I deliberately wanted us to stay away from this frantic attempt by the MPP to make the court case the topic for discussion every day. No, I believe Ghanaians are much more serious than that. They want to listen to developmental issues, and that is what we will do. But Prince, should we continue with this father for all attitude when we know that the MPP, that's just their tradition, must we allow them to be doing what they want when it is our turn? Oh, let's consider, let's bygones be bygones. I don't think this is equity. Well, in my fair view,
I believe that, like in the good book, the two ladies and the one child. One said, cut it into two. The other said, give it to the other woman so that the baby will live. Ghana will not die. Ghana will live to give glory to God, as the former president did say. And I believe that when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama says he's advancing the Better Ghana agenda. You cannot depart from the Father for all. However, it is also instructive that we all know that Ghanaians are not gullible. Ghanaians are smart. They know what is good for them, and that's why they voted for the NDC and not the NPP. In fact, just yesterday, and God has a very good sense of humor. Occasionally, he makes people slip so that people see what they really are. Yesterday, for example, on Joy FM and on Asempa, Honorable Akomia indicated that the two parties got over 50% each. Over 5 million each. And yet they are indicating that by their, court, petition and so on, that they both got less than 5 million. So Honorable Akomia is not just doing double speak. It is the word of God that is pouring out of his veins right now. You see, this Father for All thing is useful because we need to heal this country. We have the responsibility of governing. They are for all die be die. They couldn't be bothered. They are the ones who are saying cut the child into two, knowing that the child will die. We do not need to split, this country because of them. We must rather heal the country, and I think that that is what the president is doing, and we must all support. In fact, if you look at the MPP, they are not just talking about whether the president is legitimate or not. They are now adding that they are actually contesting 38 seats.
Okay.
Now, if they are contesting 38 seats and they believe that they will win all these 38 seats, add that to what they have and take it out of the NDC seats, because you cannot have an additional 38 seats being created.
Come from the NDC.
So that would make the NDC a minority party. Okay. So if that was the case, why do they have a minority leader? Why did they accept that? Why did they accept a deputy minority leader?
They should have.
And why did they want to go for the second deputy speaker? They know the truth, but they are just rabble-rousing to hold on to positions. I mean, even their followers know, and that is why they are very angry with the two factions in the MPP.
Yeah.
Why did they exactly try to put former President Kufuor under house arrest? And now they have banished him. They are threatening to banish him from all MPP activities. Yes.
Serious?
Yes. And these threats are kind of not polarizing their party, but it's dividing their party straight through the middle. So that's why I'm saying God has a good sense of humor. If you try to divide the country into two, whatever ball you throw comes back at you. And that's what happened in the MPP. Fortunately for the NDC, however, by the actions of the president and the supposed father for all, he's bringing the Kumai's family together so that the PNC, for example, is fully on board. I've listened to Samia Nkrumah, and she's made a very big U-turn. She's no longer, you remember she was, there was a rumor about she being offered something.
Yeah.
She's now talking a different talk. I listened to Brighter Kwete, the lawyer. He also was speaking very well about the fact that the president and the government is doing the right thing. Then Kumai's family is coming full steam. Today, we've heard about the Indum faction, which is the last part of the CPP, saying that they did not boycott. And there's a friction between the General Secretary and the Communications Director.
Okay.
All hell is breaking loose in the camps of those who fight against the will of the God that we all serve. The mighty one is at work. And I think that very soon there will be one big happy family and a small French that does not want Ghana to move forward. Okay. And indeed, the choices for Ghanaians will not be difficult at all. So 2016 is already decided, okay, in favor of the majority side, that is those who mean well for this country. And you see, another thing, I was talking to a very good friend of mine in the NPP, and he was very worried that at the rate at which, NDC is developing the country, after 2016, there'll be nothing for them to, claim they want to do, because everything will be done. In fact, he was alluding to the teleprompter, and then subsequently to the iPad that was being used. That this president is not just a former deputy minister of communications, a full minister of communications, but he's living, technology. Yeah. And so if he says that he's bringing quality education, and he's putting not just laptops in every child's hands, not just laptops in every teacher's hands, but that classrooms, the blackboard, will be no more. He means it. He said it before the election, okay, that all blackboards will be changed with projectors and, computer systems. And I believe him, and I'm sure that even my friend in the MPP, seeing what he's seeing, believes that it's going to be a reality, and it is going to be a reality. Just 2 days ago, I was driving with my wife through the bypass, the IPS bypass, and it was wonderful. I mean, you see the markings on the street, giving you signals. I mean, even if you're asleep, you can drive on the streets of Accra. Very soon, this will be what will happen in all the villages across the country. This president is going to touch the lives of every Ghanaian. I think that the MPP realize it. So for me, you know, as a Ghanaian, I think that whilst the father for all thing initially was something that people were a bit wheezy about. I mean, look, we are all one people, really. Ghana, we are one people. And if you look at his inaugural speech, some people said he should have talked about AU and all that. He was trying to make you believe in yourself by talking about all those achievers, the women achievers and the men achievers who have made Ghana into what it is. The Yasantuas, the the Nkrumahs, and so on and so forth. He listed about 8 names. He talked about the Tetekwashi and the Fernando Po thing, the cocoa that he brought from Equatorial Guinea. And I was looking at the Equatorial Guinea president. He was beaming with smiles. You know, today we share more than cocoa in common, oil. You know, and I think that this country is going somewhere. The president knows exactly what direction it's going. And the first thing that you need to do as a leader is to know where you're taking your people.
Absolutely. You know? But Prince, I need to take my final break. But before that, I'll put the question to you. When we come back, you give me your response, and I'll move on to Lawyer Alpha. He talked about the promises that he made. He's going to keep them. I want you to link this to an earlier comment made, I think, 31st night by one pastor, Doug
Mills. It was a Christmas Day sermon.
Yeah, that the president should keep to it. Yeah. Since then, many political, science lecturers have condemned it, that the statement was a bit too premature. I would want you to put it in proper perspective when I come back. Stay with me. I will be right back. Hello and welcome to the show. This is Majority Caucus live on your multi-TV. You need not to make any mistake about it. The pastor, was he right in saying what he said?
Well, having talked a lot about the hand of God at work, it would be very, it would be interesting to turn the hand of God on the men of God. And this past election, Pastor Otabil had been a central part of it. In fact, he was one of the major campaign managers for the NDC's victory, with his insightful living word on the free education and also the all die be die. And I think that it went down very well with Ghanaians. Ali. Anyway, well, I think that several other men of God have spoken, but it wasn't just the fact that Bishop Doug Mills spoke on this promise. The thing that most people were angry about was the tone. It was a little, condescending. It was disrespectful of the high office of president and also the president himself. But since then, in fact, on
allow me to score. Hello, Daku.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening, you're on air.
Yeah. I want to say this thing. You people, I want to ask you the NDC people, that you know God, what is called God. If you know God, like you said this election, so the
thank you. Daku.
Yes, sir.
Daku, I want to
don't know God.
Daku, listen. Daku, listen. I take serious exception to the statement you've just made. This is a serious platform. If you are watching me, I want you to watch very carefully. We do not entertain reckless comment from the likes of you. It is so unfortunate. Nobody has stolen the election. The matter is before the courts. You are in no position to make such determination nor make such pronouncement. It is very, very unfortunate for the MPP to continue banding this reckless comments on the media platform. If you trust in the justice system of the court, allow the court to decide. It is very, very important. Thank you very much for your view. I have Danla on the line. Hello, Danla.
Hello.
Yeah, Danla, you're on air.
You need to understand the mischief of the MPP.
Indeed.
You see, they started with massive fraud.
Yeah.
Massive fraud. And quickly they turn it into systematic irregularities.
Yes.
Are you getting it?
I do.
Previously, they were saying the election is, the battle is the Lord's. And when the Lord decided that Akufo-Addo could no longer become president, then they say this time it must be at the courts. You see, so all the time they have to find something to keep Jake and Akufo-Addo in position so that they can fight and maintain their positions, so that the people of the MPP will say that, oh, our leaders are fighting, they are doing well, so let's maintain them. Indeed. So I have been telling them, this case will not go anywhere. What is your evidence? How do you define overvoting? If you say that, if the total number of people on the register are, say, 361, then 291 people are voted, and you tell us that is overvoting.
Okay.
So I want to assure all NDC supporters that they should rest assured that nothing will happen. In fact,
Dala,
except that
this is all time will allow us, but we are very grateful for your opinion. Hello, Kobe. I have Kobe on the line. Hello, Kobe.
Hello.
Yeah, Kobe.
Yeah, my name is Kobe.
Okay, Kobe, you're on air.
And I want to contribute to the program.
Okay. Kobe, I need a favor from you. If you could please reduce the volume of your set. I'm getting a very terrible feedback here.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, the fact is that we needed to ignore the MPP. And I need to sound a caution to President Mahama. MPP is a party that you don't drive along with. MPP, the only language they understand is you crash them. The only president who was able to survive the MPP is President Rawlings, because he was able to crash them and they ran away into oblivion. They ran away. They couldn't stay in this country. Atame tried it, Father for all. You see what he has gotten.
If you could run up with your submission, okay.
He should be very careful with the MPP.
Okay. Thank you very much.
To go and vote.
Okay. Thank you very much for your views. I have another caller on the line, Peter.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Peter.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Peter. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Fine. The same to you. Thank you very much for your program. I'm watching your program, and I also watch the majority. I'm an NPP man anyway, but I'm calling to say it's not how people are trying to deceive us. It's like they say, eligible say like example I'm saying now. They say instead of 53, it was 63 given to Mahama. Those are the points that we the followers follow, and we go to a brass sport there shouting. But the evidence come out now. It's like irregularities. So it's like, I don't know, I've not yet.
So you are disappointed?
So it's like, I was deceived by the first time.
Okay.
And this time they say we should come to a brass sport again for today.
I trust that you do the right thing, and that you've seen the light.
Because what I heard first, I think is the strong evidence. But for now, I can't see anything like strong evidence. It's like people, they tell us the truth so that we forget about it.
I believe you do the right thing, now that you've seen the light. Thank you very much for your views.
Give us the guidelines update so that we also follow.
Okay.
The first one, I'm not getting the points.
Okay, thank you very much. You're most welcome. I have my final caller on the line, Moses. Moses, you'll be my last caller. Hello, Moses.
Yes, sir.
Moses,
what I just want to say is that it is big okay. That means all the way. You will not come back again. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much. Yeah, Prince, you were making a point.
Yeah, I was saying that Bishop Dag Heward-Mills spoke on Christmas Day, and his Christmas Day sermon is that which had come up for a lot of flack. And yes, the things he said are things that could be said, that the president should fulfill his promises. In fact, for me, what it meant was that he accepted the fact that the president had won the election.
Yeah.
And so he needed to go ahead and fulfill his promises.
Yeah.
He acknowledged the fact also that Akufo-Addo had lost, and therefore he was not to make any promises anymore, nor fulfill any, because he won't have the opportunity. Okay. So that was a plus in that. It was only the tone that he used. But since then, Bishop Dag Heward-Mills has come to correct himself. Yes, after the inauguration, he's spoken. He's spoken to the media. Okay. And his tone is much better. And he's virtually said the same things, as in like, believing that the president should go ahead and do what he has to do, the work at hand. So I think that really NDC faithfuls should not be angered, not by what Bishop Hayward Mills may have said or how he may have even said it. We should not bother with Pastor Otabill's, what do you call it?
Otabida are evil people.
No, I'm saying that, no, those are things he said. They're all okay. But I'm saying that we should not go and be bogged down into an NPP trap that they said much earlier of trying to pitch, the pastoral community against us, especially after the president, had his, what do you call it, his, the castle, breakfast meeting with the, and also note that that is something that has been happening in the name of the former President Mills, for which the NPP said he was turning the castle into a church, and they were angry about it. That shows that real people we're dealing with. These are people who now are going to host church services and, stadia and other things. The battle is a lot. These people do not mean anything they say. So it's just hot air. Everybody stay calm. This country is going nowhere, but for what? It is going to be on a very steady, path under the able leadership of His Excellency and the team that he's chosen. And I think that there's every confidence in Atuguba, Doctor, as the executive, and then Sule Garba and the Chief of Staff, Bani, and others. And I think a lot more things have happened. He's asked the ministers, the society ministers, to go and be caretakers, including your very, very. No, the point is that you see, there's a history. There's a history to that. President Mills allowed even the NPP DCs to stay at post. So I think that the NPP should not raise red flags, and they are very good at it. They'll go and challenge and claim that the various ministers have no locus. Their oaths that they swore have expired. These are things that the NPP would do. I'm preempting them because we know that.
I'm sure lawyer Alpha Nasir would want to touch on that quickly as to the legitimacy of caretakers. What can they do and what can they not do, if you want to tie it up with whether or not you were inspired by the president's inaugural speech quickly.
As to what they can do or what they cannot do, it is about the same thing that a minister of state or anybody occupying the position legitimately can do. Because when you look at the constitution, there are provisions. I think 296 thereabout. One of the provisions. I'm not, privy to have the constitution in front of me right now. But what it purports to say is that if you are an occupant of a particular position, you are deemed to have all the powers. And doing anything that a legitimate member of a legitimate member appointed to that particular position should, do. So if you do anything which is not inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution, but to further the cause of the position in which you are, then legitimately, whether you are in an acting capacity or not, you should be able to do that. I don't think there is anything wrong with that.
So in wrapping up, sorry to cut you, were you inspired generally by the president's speech at the
inaugural ceremony? I was very inspired, but there's actually something I wanted to touch on
quickly in 15 seconds.
Yeah, there was actually something I wanted on the
run out of time.
Issue of energy, petroleum in particular. It is as if we have left out this matter for a very long time, but the president actually reminded us of it, especially when it comes to the utilization of our petroleum resources. He indicated that under the Better Ghana Agenda Part 1, they have put in place certain legislative arrangements that will guarantee Ghanaians of a better utilization of our petroleum revenues in this country. And I think that is a fundamental point that every Ghanaian should understand. We all know about the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, which actually comes up with the Ghana Stability Fund and the Ghana Heritage Fund.
Do you know what we would do? We would have another shot at this, and then we will go substantively into the details of the petroleum law. And I'm sure that when the time comes, I can count on you.
Why not?
Okay, thank you very, gentlemen. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time tonight.
Young man.
The caretaker. That's it for tonight. I have been joined in the studio tonight by lawyer Alpha Nasir Mohammed, a lawyer, former Speaker of University of Ghana Parliament and the first National Youth Parliament, and also caretaker Deputy National Coordinator for National Youth Authority, Prince Derek Ejay.
And convener.
Convener of the Youth Parliament. Make a date with me on Thursday when I come your way with another exciting edition of Majority Caucus. Till then, stay blessed and enjoy your night. Bye-bye.